Hi, my name is Noor Khan from Wilding Solicitors. I am a director and solicitor and partner at Wilding Solicitors, and I have today with me my colleague and partner Neelam Afzal, who will be shortly talking to you as well. Um, we are a solicitors firm based in Birmingham and have been established since the 1970s. So I'm just going to tell you just a few things of what we do at Wilding Solicitors. We have been in the community since the 1970s and have always been a community hub, helping local individuals. We have specialists only, and we specialize in the following areas, which is residential property, so all aspects of buying or selling your first home if you're an investor. We also do act for developers. If you are transferring a property, if you are remortgaging, so anything associated with residential property, we are here to help. We also have a very large commercial property department which deals with commercial properties in terms of buying and selling, or if you're buying and selling a business, or even if you have a commercial property and you are going to grant a lease, we do have a commercial property department that can help you. We have a wills and probate department, an immigration department, and a family department. We also have a small personal injury department as well. We have a growing employment department, which Neelam will talk to you shortly about. And these are the areas that we specialize in. We have an open door policy and are happy to accommodate everybody's needs. And even if, for example, we can't help you, we are sure to know somebody who can. So that's who we are. My name's Noor Khan, Wilding Solicitors, and that's what we're about.
Thank you very much, Nora. That was a great introduction and a great insight into the company. We know legislation is always changing. We've recently seen the new laws around divorce, which some people may still not know about. But can you just touch up on that very, very quickly?
Of course, I think I'll have to pass the mic on to Neelam in relation to that, because she is one of the individuals in our department who, within our firm, who oversees the family department. And maybe Neelam can come in and answer that question.
That's fine. And also, when you talk about the company, you've been here for well over 40 years.
Yeah.
What's the secret for your success as a solicitor's company? In a fairly multicultural community, are you still getting work by hearsay, by word of mouth, or do you do a lot of advertising? How's that work coming through?
Of course, I think it's a cocktail of ingredients is put all together and that work quite well. As I explained at the start, we are a community hub. We have acted within the community for fathers and mothers, and now we're acting for their sons and daughters and so forth. One thing which we do is we only have specialists, so we will only take on the work if we have the skill set to do so. If we can service it and we have the competency levels to achieve the result for our clients, we will take it on. If we can't, we will direct it to somebody who can help. We've been here for a very long time. We've provided a good service. We have good client care. We have an open door policy. We see all our clients in person. That, with the combination of good advertising and reaching out to people like yourself, does help with the growth of the firm and the goodwill.
There's no secret the legal fraternity, and certainly the business, is still very male dominated, but next to you, you've got Neelam as a partner. What's it like working with a fellow colleague and female partner?
Absolutely fantastic. We have a good range of male and female employees. We have a small team, and Neelam's my partner. From a female perspective, they see things slightly different than where a male would see it. So yeah, I think it's good. I mean, we are recruiting individuals because our firm is growing, and we are finding more female suitable candidates, people who have graduated, done their LPC. So yeah, it ticks all the boxes.
It's a great insight. Okay, well, let's talk to Neelam Afzal, your partner. Neelam, thanks for taking your time out to speak to me here, and of course, it's always good to speak to people who are doing the right things in their business. You're no stranger when it comes into the world of legals. And an area that you're now kind of more specialising in is not just divorce, but of course employment law,
Absolutely.
which for many years was a grey area. But of course we've seen the fire and rehire with the P&O. Of course we've seen the notorious headlines there. In a nutshell, what is the current situation with the legal law?
Okay, so employment laws changed because what we had fees. So claimants had to put fees. Some years ago, they had to pay fees to lodge their claims, and when they abolished that, all the claims, we started to get a lot of influx of different claims. The P&O case was an interesting one because it was about failure to consult around TP regulations, and because they said they weren't within the UK perimeters, the reasons they got caught out because of where the individuals were based from. So and massive amounts of compensation in terms of all the staff that have been, unfortunately, where they haven't consulted. But in the world of employment law is really interesting because we recently had a case, and I referred to this recently at an event where referring to a bald man is treated as being discriminatory.
Wow.
Yes, so it was reported that it was discrimination because baldness is associated with males, and therefore discrimination on the grounds of sex. So we constantly we're getting interesting decisions coming out of the tribunals. So it's an ever-changing landscape about what is politically correct and what you can and can't say. And as employment lawyers, we're very, I suppose, we're there to educate the businesses and the individuals about actually what we've got to be careful about and what we can and can't say. But it's still a very grey area because nobody would have ever thought, a few years ago that calling somebody, unfortunately, bald is discrimination.
Interesting, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But if we talk about legislation and again the employment law, we've seen also the increase in 0-hour contracts. Agency workers, again, it sounds ambiguous, but clearly, I mean, the law surely is. It states after 12 weeks working at an employer or even as an agency, then you have the same rights as a normal full-time employee.
Yes, so that's it. So the agency workers regulation after 12 weeks gives you a lot of rights. So, the same rest breaks, the same promotion periods, the same job opportunities. We've also still, and that's always been the case for some years, where we've got the exclusivity ban on agency workers. But one of the difficult things that businesses haven't still, and there's so many of them, is trying to work out what contract actually suits your workforce. Because I've seen this quite often where they've put 0-hour contracts in place to allow that flexibility. And then unfortunately, what they are doing then is they're giving them the fixed hours, regular hours, in a pattern. So they're not in reality 0 hours workers. So you're then having disputes around the fact that workers are now saying we're not 0 hours workers, we're actually employees. So therefore, post 2 years, we benefit from the employee rights in respect of unfair dismissal. We benefit from other aspects that an employee gets, which as workers we don't. And we did see this in quite a few cases. We had the the Deliveroo, Uber, a number of cases where those cases went Court of Appeal. I think they even got to the European Court at some point, and it was concluded that that they weren't self-employed; they were actually workers, hence benefiting from sick pay, holiday pay, and Uber faced some significant payouts, which most of them were done through their portal system to pay for backdated holiday, sick pay. So from what I understand, it cost Uber a lot of money, not only that, their legal fees. So it's really, really important. And I often, when I do a fact find with a business, is to work out, okay, because I could just sell a contract and I could draft them what they ask me, but actually it's looking beyond that and going, well, actually, what do they really need here? And actually, what are they trying to protect? And what's their objective? What are they trying to get out there?
So you carry out your own due diligence?
100%.
Okay. As a practice, as Wilding solicitors, employment law is not something everybody does. What made you go into it?
So I did it as an elective when I did my legal practice course only a few years, no, some years ago. So it was one of the electives I did. Really interesting cases. I'm from a litigant background, so actually, in terms of going to court, getting your decision in front of a judge, there's something that's just different about your non-contentious work. So that was always a challenge. And each case is different. So every case you pick up, there's something new, there's something fresh, there's something interesting. I mean, I attend a networking event every week. I have a different case story every week I attend. And they look forward to hearing my case story about employment law, because it's just, there's so much to pick from. And there's some really interesting and intricate bits as well when you look at 2P regulations, when you look at redundancy regulations, when you're looking at contracts. It's actually, you've got to really apply your mind. And I find that a good challenge.
Even as a law firm, the first point of call would always be arbitration. Nobody wants to go to ACAS. In terms of negotiating those very skill sets, who's the better person, yourself or Noor?
Definitely me. Would you agree?
We will agree to disagree.
Okay. Well, actually, no. I think when we are, let's say, negotiating deals.
Yes, we have our strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's why we sort of get on so well. Neelam's good in certain areas. I'm good in other areas. I come from a business background. My father's always had his own business. Neelam's very good with getting into the nitty gritty, the terms, the conditions. So yeah, we sort of bounce off each other, and I think many times we've disagreed, we've agreed, but we always think for the benefit of the business, the benefit of our clients, the benefit of our employees, and also the wider community, and we move forward with that decision.
Great. Final question to you, Neelam. We know, like most careers, and even with the judiciary, so many changes there. But as a career, certainly girls that may be watching this video, listen to the podcast, what would your advice be to them if they want to get into this very line of work?
Visualize it, talk about it, and then do it. Because I think often we don't talk about it. And I think sometimes, and I think there's a psychological concept around this, that if you don't visualize it and don't talk about it, because you can see something, not talk about it, but when you start talking about it with people, you start telling people, then the likelihood is that it will happen. And I've often been witness to this.
Neelam Afzal and Noor, thank you very much from Wilding Solicitors.
Thank you.
Thank you.